The Power of One scholarship campaign was initiated just about a year ago now, and with an $8 million goal. And of course, you've all heard that we did announce that we hit that goal 6 months early at the President's Dinner in June and set a new goal of $12 million. With that, and with the announcements that we'll share today, we're getting close to that new goal. But before we do make that official announcement, I would like to introduce our President, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming. This is truly a remarkable week, and it's marked by the generosity of two remarkable gentlemen. And Tim, I want to, before I begin, to thank you and thank your staff for the leadership that you have taken to launch this university forward through the Power of One campaign. I don't need to tell you that our students today face challenges that we ourselves did not face when we were going through school. And this Power of One campaign that's dedicated to meeting the needs of our students through scholarship really goes to the heart of who we are, which is ensuring that our family stands up together to ensure that the next generation of leaders have access to that American dream, have access to an affordable and accessible education. And I am thrilled to announce this morning that the Power of One Scholarship is nearing meeting its goal of $12 million by the end of this year. We have two major gifts that this morning we are here to announce, and they come, as I said earlier, for two remarkable gentlemen who are not strangers to this university and to this family. Henry Troller, mayor of our city here, is also an instructor of management and marketing, and he saw what needed to be done to make sure that our students had access to an education. Henry Van Allen from Sharon Spring also saw that need. And both of these gentlemen have stepped up and together have bestowed upon our university two major gifts. Henry will provide our students with gifts that specifically will be geared towards students who are minority, and Jerry Van Allen, who served our Navy and who served our country proudly on farm for more than 10 years, has established a memorial scholarship also for our students. The generosity of these two gentlemen, part of the Tiger family at Fort Hays State University, is only unmatched by their kindness and by their support of this university. And on behalf of the students to whom these scholarships will be going, on behalf of the faculty and the staff of this great university, it is my distinct pleasure and privilege to say thank you. Thank you so very much for making a difference in the life of the future generation of Kansans and on the future generation of our world. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
You know, after we did announce that we went over the goal in June, and we established a new goal of $12 million, and I think when we made a formal announcement where we were at that point since then, and when we did set the new goal, and my staff fell out of their chair when we said $12 million, and I think Dr. Hammond said, no, they didn't fall out of their chairs, they were really so excited to be able to raise that amount of money. And there's a lot of truth to that. You know, the campaign that was established a year ago, really in recognition of Dr. Hammond's 7-year tenure here at Fort Hays, and the importance and his leadership and guidance in helping students. I'd never really been involved in my close to 30 years of development work in a one-year effort like this. And I only thought it was fitting that we start that campaign and get it going, and I congratulate the staff as well for all their hard work and everything that they've done for that. But currently, we announced that we are at $10 million, the last really official count for the campaign. And with these two gifts and with many others that have come to the table, we now stand at $11.6 million for our campaign. So with that, obviously we have $400,000 left. We could just end it today. Lock the doors, please. And let's end it today. But no, I too would like to thank Jerry and Henry for their support, for what they're doing for students. That's why we're all here. That's why we're a part of Fort Hays State, and their leadership and guidance in providing support for students, not only in the short term but the long term, is so vitally important, and it's really the true foundation of which this university was built and stands for. And it really is a guiding light. It is the power of one. With Henry being a community leader, a community leader here in our university as an educator, as well as helping students along the way in what he's trying to get accomplished, not only in the classroom, but for their future, is really commendable, and we thank you for that, Henry. And with that, I'd like you to come out and say a few words.
What an amazing crowd. This is fantastic. Thank you all for joining us here. Henry and Juliet Schwaller had two sons, my father, Hank, and another son, Fritz. And they also blessed their grandchildren with amazing gifts, travel and knowledge and art and education, and made us who we are today. Henry and Juliet had two major passions, Mexico and living in Mexico. They began spending their winters in Mexico in 1976 and spent their last winter there in their home in 2002 through 2003. The second was business. My grandfather was always thinking, creating new ideas, challenging, pushing. And he left his mark on Hays with the creation of Vine Street. Vine Street, as we know it today, did not exist until my grandfather purchased 250 acres of land from 13th to 27th Street today, from Vine Street to approximately Indian Trail. It began the first suburban development in this city that ultimately connected us to the interstate, which he also helped build on the Kansas Highway Commission. He was a proud supporter of Hays. His friends, American friends in Mexico, were often tired of hearing about how great Hays was, because he was just a tireless supporter and booster, as many of you in this room are. But he also was very proud of the work here at the university. And as we talked about how we wanted to go forward in the future, he made it very clear that we, as a family, had benefited so much from the work done at the university. Our customers, our employees, everyone that we have contact with in our business, we benefit because they're related to the university. And the community benefited from the university. And even in his very last days, when we would go on Sunday rides, and we'd always take a tour through the campus, and he was quite older at that point and did not remember exactly what we owned and didn't own at that point. And so I was learning about things we had owned in the past. He would always say, "How's Ed?" I didn't even know he knew who Ed was. He said, "How's Ed doing? What's he up to? How's the university doing?" He was always interested in knowing what was going on at the university and how we were doing. And then he would say, "Hays is a wonderful place, and the university looks wonderful." So our commitment today is a scholarship for students who've studied or studying entrepreneurship. With the change of the College of Business to the College of Business and Entrepreneurship, it is extraordinarily important for the Kansas economy and the world economy that we prepare students who are entrepreneurial, whether or not they own or start their own business, but have an entrepreneurial mindset that moves our economy forward in the 21st century. We absolutely must dedicate resources to that, and that's what this scholarship wants to do. The second is Latino Hispanic population. We have a growing Latino Hispanic population, not only in the United States, but here in Kansas. There's a lot of opportunity there, particularly for this university and our geographic area. So targeting these students is critical to the success of our community and other communities here in Western Kansas, and we're glad to have a partner here at Fort Hays State. Thank you.
Kendra, thank you so much, and your family. I think, you know, when we first moved back to Hayes 8 years ago, and we moved just up the street from where your grandparents lived, and there was a little get-together at the Jeter home, and it was the Schwallers and the Jeters and the Hartmans and several others. And the average age at that little get-together was probably 95 years old. And Mona and I both sat there and wondered, how do we fit into this group? My hair was a little darker then. But it was so nice to get to know them and really understand the neighborhood, number one, that we just moved into, but the support that they continue to give and their love for Hayes. So thank you very much. Jerry Van Allen, Navy veteran, farmer, non-traditional student, and you know, and I think that is so neat, and a professional fundraiser as well. And you know, I think from his position, and I can reflect to that because I too was a non-traditional student and a fundraiser. Some would say professional or not, we're not sure, but a fundraiser nonetheless. And I think it's a true testament when a person that's involved in fundraising and as a non-traditional student comes back and understands the importance of people and what that really means and the different vehicles that you can take advantage of to not only meet your charitable interests, but also from a tax advantage perspective to be able to take care of those kind of things. But Jerry's making a difference with people. And I think from being a non-traditional student, from the classroom, and getting that perspective and leading you to where you are today and making this gift to Fort Hays is absolutely wonderful. And I would like you to come forward and say a few words, please.
I promise it won't be long. I picked up the wrong folder last night when I was coming to Hayes. I had part of my stuff, but didn't have the speech. So I'm just going to wing it. I come from Western Kansas. We were farming and implement company business. Had 7 of us kids. So there was never a dull moment. And when it came time for me to go to college, my father hadn't been able to send my older brothers and sisters to college, but they managed on scholarships and were able to go and get their degrees. And I did get a scholarship, so I went to junior college for 2 years. And then I was ready to come to Fort Hays State. And lo and behold, I had 3 jobs in Colby. There was no jobs here in Hays to be had, and no scholarships for juniors that I qualified for. And so I thought, well, I'll work a semester and then come to Fort Hays State. Well, we had the draft back then in the Vietnam War, and I wasn't going to be a foot soldier in Vietnam. And so I joined the Navy. And I was seasick all the time. Maybe it wasn't the smartest thing I ever did. But I enjoyed the Navy, got to see the world. Came back, and my father had had a stroke by then. And I farmed our family farms for almost 13 years. And then I was in a trucking accident and could no longer do that manual labor that's so required on a farm. So I decided, you know, I need to go back to school. And I was serving Eastern Star in their Grand Line at the time. And I didn't feel like leaving the farm and going to work for somebody and then asking them for time off so I could do my Eastern Star stuff. I didn't feel like that was right. So I talked to Jeanette Hewitt and Eris Virginia Johnson. They're all involved with the college back then. And they said, yeah, you should come to Fort Hays State and be a non-traditional student. And I don't know when I've ever enjoyed anything more. The non-traditional student aspect compared to the high school graduates, you know, and stuff that are just getting to school was totally different. Our relationship with professors was definitely on a different scale than our regular students. And of course, we were in the master's program. We were expected to perform well. And I think their expectations of us gave us the encouragement that we would do well. And so I was very impressed with the faculty and the university after Ed Hammond came and I saw the growth and the continued growth. And kept my fingers in things here at Fort Hays State with Virgil Scott. He was your director of the foundation then. He was from my hometown. So we talked about a lot of things, and I joined the Wooster Society. And then I had a trust that my money was in. And I thought, you know, it's going to cost me so much money to disperse this trust the way I want to do it, sort of control it from the grave, you know what I mean? But really what I was trying to do was avoid taxes on my retirement funds that had no taxes had been paid on. So finally I decided that instead of paying a large administrative fee on my trust, that I was going to make Fort Hays State the ultimate beneficiary on all of those funds. And then there was a MOU that Justin and I worked on. I don't see him out here. I know he's here someplace. But I appreciate all your help, Justin, on getting the MOU and everything in order so that we could put closure to this gift. And I just feel like no one deserves it more than Fort Hays State, and they have to be from Kansas. And in fact, we even geographically, they have to be west of Highway 183. Because I'm a Western Kansas boy, and I know a lot of the schools out there don't have, well, a lot of the people are farmers, don't have money to send their kids to school. And this is a 4-year ongoing scholarship for a student. And so we'll have quite a few students going at the same time, and I felt who better to manage that money than the university where the kids are going. So I'm very proud that I can do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we'd like to thank Jerry and Henry for their support. And one other thing that I want you to leave with today is 11.6. We're at 11.6. We have 400K to go with around 6 weeks to go. So a lot of work to be done, but we're very excited. We'll probably have another press conference in December at some point, and then announce where we stand at that point and move forward from there. I'd be happy to take any questions, if there are any, in regards to the campaign. Yes, Mark?
Tim, if I could share just a brief statement. This is Global Entrepreneurship Week, and Henry Schwaller has not only dedicated a scholarship in honor of entrepreneurship, that this weekend he led Startup Kansas, in which over 41 participants participated in Startup Weekend, which is the largest one that's been held in the state of Kansas, larger than any in Wichita or Johnson County. And Henry's walking the walk and talking the talk. We really appreciate his leadership.
Congratulations. And that's why we call it the Power of One Scholarship Campaign. We all can make a difference regardless of the size of gift, and we encourage all to take advantage of that and carry your own flag and be a leader and a guiding light for others to follow. With that, thank you so much.